idea behind today is very much about finding new approaches for working with community groups, as well as looking at the benefits to researchers and practitioners, to community groups and to wider society for having this kind of two-way engagement.
We actually do live in this really complex technological society where science is important in understanding really complex phenomena that are going on. It's difficult for complex science and technology issues to really be engaged in the kind of democratic process or to be incorporated in the democratic process. So often what happens is that these complex decisions about climate change or whatever are made by the experts, and that can lead to a kind of general disengagement. Now we've seen that around the world.
As practitioners or researchers, as the majority of you are, you might have particular skills and knowledge that you can use to help communities address concerns, problems that they might have. But unless you take the time to really sort of understand what their particular perspectives, what their particular concerns are and interests, then you won't get the chance to effectively deliver those benefits. So the first activity that I want to start off with is this one with these big spreadsheets that are on all the table.
The purpose of Mapping for Change is to support community-based initiatives. So you have a lot of kind of technology companies that specialize in providing you computerized mapping. Then you have a whole kind of set of organizations that will offer ability in community engagement. The number of organizations actually offering you to cover the ground across the board with that is very small, and that's where Mapping for Change come in. From the start, the principle of Mapping for Change was if you ever need us again, come and talk with us. The surprise thing about it is that two came back for more. Issues bring the public together. So in lots of the cases when we showed up in a community, they wanted to do something and they wanted to have a specific target. Once that's set and it's in place, everyone happy and going home and doing other things.
Okay, so the next session is, as we mentioned at the beginning, a chance to think about a project that you're either working on already, would like to work on, and then just generally outline what is the purpose of the project, and then who are the communities that might be either involved in or impacted by that project.
Anita and I talked about a project that I'm currently working on. The idea is to basically sort of co-design this garden, carbon capture garden, in collaboration with the local community. So obviously to provide the environmental benefit of carbon capture, but also the other sort of local benefit, other ecosystem services, whether it's the recreational value, food growing and so on. One of the big challenges with something like this was to think about how you actually frame the bigger sort of societal problem of climate change for a local audience.
So this is a project idea that actually came from a community group or a set of community groups who realised that there's a big push in London to promote community food growing, but it's not necessarily matched with a push for groups or individuals to understand what sorts of sites are good to grow food on, particularly like from a soils context, so if things are contaminated or if actually they're just incredibly poor soils for growing.
There are opportunities to engage more, and research councils are interested in impact and they are interested in a broad range of impact. So the research might be a chance to take some of these smaller risks